So hello everyone, and thank you for joining us today for our virtual CMCO University Express. This is a mini version, very mini version of a 2-day in-person class we offer called CMCO University. We offer it at our headquarters in Gettsville, New York. And this is a live presentation we're offering today featuring our top 4 products with some hands-on. My name is Gisela Clark. I am the Senior Digital Marketing Specialist at Columbus McKinnon, and I'll be your host for today's webinar. Presenting today is Rob Bruno. Rob is an industry products trainer with Columbus McKinnon. He served 6 years in the U.S. Coast Guard on a 225-foot seagoing buoy tender, where he was a crane operator handling all shipboard rigging. After the Coast Guard, he worked for a large wire rope and sling manufacturer, where he was responsible for sling fabrication and inspection, as well as offsite rigging and inspection. After moving to California, Rob worked for one of the largest synthetic sling manufacturers in the U.S., where he was responsible for nuclear, hydro, aerospace, and wind energy customers. Rob joined Columbus McKinnon in November of 2017, and we're excited to have him talking to you all today. So before we begin, just want to cover a few quick things. This webinar is being recorded, and we'll be sending everyone a link to the recording afterwards. So look for it in an email within the next day or two. Everyone is in listen-only mode, so we encourage you to ask questions in the Q&A pane. As was requested, I'll try to post them as they're posted so you can see what others are asking in case you have the same. And lastly, after each webinar, we select one of the questions to be featured in our blog. So please type them in. We'd love to feature your questions in our blog in the coming weeks. We thank you all for your attention. And now I'll turn over the meeting to Rob to begin.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you for attending. We appreciate everybody hopping on and taking time out of their days. We're going to talk about and demo 4 innovative and unique hoists to the industry that Columbus McKinnon offers. When you hear about Columbus McKinnon, we're an innovative company that deals in the hoisting, rigging, load securement, anything that involves moving, securing, or rigging a load. Columbus McKinnon's your one-stop shop for. So I really wanted to present these 4 items, not only because of their uniqueness to their industry, but also the innovativeness that comes with them that really sets Columbus McKinnon apart from anybody else in the industry as an innovator and leader in this market space. Next slide. So the hoist that we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about and demonstrate the CM Lodestar VS, the CM Shopstar VS, the CM Hurricane 360 manual chain hoist, as well as the Tornado 360 lever hoist. All 4 of these are products that we currently offer and have a full product line to suit any need that you or your customer might have. Next slide, please, Gisela.
I should be now showing the CM Lodestar VS. Is that what you're seeing, Rob?
Nope, I'm still on the first page. But that's okay.
I'll tell you what, if you could maybe pull it up on your own screen to follow along, it might be best. Yes, I'm sorry. We had a couple little technical glitches. Maybe while you're doing that, let's just see. I'll go back up. We have a disclaimer here, if you could read over this really quickly. All it really says, and Rob, if you want to speak to this really quickly, we just want to make sure you understand the basics.
Yeah, so general disclaimer is, all the information pertaining to this webinar and this series is intended for individuals. It's not in any way, shape, or form a certification or training course. This is meant for information only to make our customers and users aware of our products. It does not substitute any regulations or OSHA. Please don't send this out to customers as training. Just use it as kind of a guidance of the products we have and the innovativeness that we offer. And we'll speak to where you can go for more information at the end of the series.
Perfect. Okay.
So CM Lodestar VS. When you think about Columbus McKinnon, you think about the iconic CM Lodestar that's been out for years. So we went one step further and really took into consideration what customers were looking for, and we came out with the CM Lodestar VS. It's the iconic Lodestar with all the safety and features that offers, incorporated with the Magnatech G Plus Mini Premier Drive. And what we encompassed is a one-of-a-kind, unique, innovative hoist. Why this hoist is so innovative is if you've ever worked on a VFD and you had to program a VFD for all the variations that a VFD has to offer, it can be a little cumbersome and time-consuming. So as we took the iconic Lodestar and Magnatech's Premier G Plus Mini Drive, we also added a hoist interface technology, which we call CM High Tech Interface, which simply allows you to plug into or port into the bottom of the hoist, connect to a laptop or tablet, and you pull up a screen. And you're going to have 3 screens. You're going to have a speed screen, a limits page, and a maintenance page. Each of these pages allows you to quickly adjust parameters, i.e., you have the old turtle and hare for speed adjustments. You have acceleration and deceleration times. You have additional features such as Swift Lift, which I will talk about shortly. You have Load Check 2. Then you have a new feature that everybody is very excited about, and that's electronically programmable limit switches. So rather than having your standard geared limit switches, you now have electronically programmable limit switches. So I simply set my hook where I want it. I click set upper limit and my upper limit set. I can conversely do the same for my lower limit. I also have slow approach limits. What that means is when my hook's approaching my limit, if anybody's operated a single speed or 2-speed hoist, when that hook hits that limit, you get a lot of movement or load bounce because that hoist comes to abrupt stop, okay? Limits are intended as a safety device to protect the hoist from damage. In other words, so I can't pull the bottom hook through the hoist, or I can't slack my load chain when the bottom hook hits the floor. But they do get tripped throughout the day. We get busy, we kind of lose where the hook's at, and they can't happen. Well, we wanted to eliminate the risk of that load bounce. So what we did, in addition to the electronically programmable limit switches, is we added a feature called slow approach. And I could set that anywhere from 0 to 54 inches from my upper and lower limit. And what that does is the hoist will automatically slow down to my slowest set speed at whatever distance I set it at, let's say 12 inches. It will slow down to the hoist's slowest speed so that when I actually hit my limit, there's no load bounce. It drastically reduces that load bounce and it maintains positive control of the load. So I can eliminate the load swaying or possibly hitting the operator or other equipment or anything like that. So it gives us a lot of control of this hoist. The other thing we did was we incorporated our new rocket pendant, which is a rocker style pendant with this hoist. It comes standard with the 2-step, 2-speed or 2-speed infinitely variable hoist. And what that just allows you to do is it's an ergonomic pendant that really allows you to smoothly operate this hoist. One of the tremendous benefits of this hoist, which I'll demonstrate to you, is the ability to quickly adjust from your fast speed to your slow speed without ever having to stop. Every time we stop movement, we get sway or load bounce. So having a VFD controlled hoist really controls the load and gives you precise and accurate load placement, as well as overall safety for the equipment and the operator. Next slide. The next hoist we're going to talk about, again, is one of our iconic hoists, the CM Shopstar VS. If anybody's familiar with the Shopstar, it's a very lightweight, compact, portable hoist. So what we decided to do was incorporate the VS technology into this. Let's have that lightweight, compact, portable, less maintenance hoist and incorporate the VS technology into that. Now, due to its size, we couldn't put a VFD into it. So we went to a brushless DC motor technology. And for lack of a better term, we kind of put a card in there that we could read through our program. Now, the Shopstar inherently does not have limit switches. So what you can do with this program is, again, you can access your maintenance page and you can adjust your speeds. So we're giving the operator, we're giving safety personnel, we're giving management, we're giving production people the ability to purchase a variable speed hoist and set it and adjust it to the exact needs of their applications. The other benefit to this is these hoists, especially the Shopstar, is a very portable unit. So you can take it from one application, install it in a new location for a new application, and quickly adjust your speed parameters to coincide with that application. So it really gives you a lot of versatility when you're purchasing these hoists, because you can purchase one hoist but configure it and adjust it to fit multiple applications and considerations. With the Shopstar VS, again, it comes in a single phase or three-phase application, 250 to 1,100 pound capacities. It's going to come in a 2-speed or 2-step influence variable or 3-speed, 3-step influence variable. It has the high H4 plus duty cycle motor. And again, this hoist really stands out to its lightweight, small, compact design for an electric chain hoist. The Hurricane 360 is one of the unique and most innovative hoists probably out in the market. What it has is it took a standard manual chain hoist, and what we did was we designed the hand wheel to rotate 360 degrees. What does that offer? Well, it allows you to operate the hoist from any position or angle, even above the load. So if we look at capacities, half to 20 ton, your standard lifts, 10, 15, 20 foot, standard overload protection, forged lift wheels, sealed bearings, and again, the CM lifetime warranty. What does this truly offer us? Well, let's take into consideration, I'm working in an elevator shaft. I'm in a tight, confined, enclosed space. If I'm the operator lifting that load, I really have nowhere to go. God forbid the load release or something malfunction. Now I introduced the CM Hurricane 360 with the 360-degree rotating hand wheel. Now as the operator, I can stand outside of the elevator shaft because that hand wheel is going to come to the angle that I'm operating the hoist at. Still give me 100% efficiency of the hoist, but allow me as the operator to be at a safe distance and position from the load. God forbid an accident was to happen. Another situation that we hear of quite often is being above the load. Any standard chain hoist, once the hand chain comes above the hoist, it jams. You can't use the hoist that way. Well, with the CM Hurricane 360, because that hand wheel rotates 360 degrees, I can now stand above the hoist and operate that hoist with full efficiency and functionality. So it's a very innovative, unique hoist that can really change the industry. One of the main things that really changes it is the safety aspect of this hoist. We now have the ability to get our operators away from the load path. We have the ability to get our operators outside of pinch points, crush areas. We get our operators out of the danger zone. And our operators being the most important part of the job, we really have to take into consideration the safety aspect that this hoist offers and provides. We went one step further and we offered an integrative trolley version of this hoist. So what we did was we designed a trolley that integrates directly into the hoist body. What this does is it reduces headroom drastically. Normally when we attach a hoist to a trolley, it's going to be hook mounted, or if we did have an integrated trolley, we gain a lot of headroom in it. With this, between the bottom flange and the square design of a hoist, you might have a 1/4 inch between the bottom flange and the top of the hoist. We also made the trolley very easy and adjustable. If you're familiar with hoist trolleys, a lot of them have spacers and washers to set your flange with. So you got to sit there and you got to calculate out how many spacers go where, washers go where, so on and so forth. Well, with this, we did threaded spindles with lock nuts for easy adjustment. So I can easily thread out my spindles, take my trolley plates to the side, put it over my flange, compress it in, thread my spindles in, and I'm done. I don't have to mess around with spacers and washers. We take a lot of the guesswork out. Is it centered correctly? Is it installed properly? We got rid of a lot of that. So it's a low profile integrated trolley design that again incorporates the uniqueness and innovativeness of the Hurricane 360 manual chain hoist. This trolley comes in plain and geared versions. Again, the threaded spindles for easy adjustment. It's got very smooth operation. Camber profile for flat or inclined beam profiles, and it comes standard with anti-tilt, anti-drop features, also known as drop stops. And you have options of rubber bumpers, beam locking devices, and chain containers that also come in conjunction with this. The next hoist we're going to talk about is the CM Tornado. The Tornado, again, is a unique and innovative hoist to the industry because we took a standard lever hoist and we modified it and we designed it, engineered it to offer a better product for the user and our partners when it comes to tensioning or pulling or lifting applications. This hoist comes 3/4, and we actually have now added up to 9-ton capacities. So we cover from the standard ranges to the very extreme ranges. And what this incorporates is an ergonomic crank handle. So as you can see in the picture, and I'll demonstrate to you, it's machined so that you have a crank handle that slides outward, stays in the neutral position so you can use it like a standard lever hoist, or inward, so now you're in line with the load chain. This ergonomic crank handle can reduce pull force up to 30% and can actually increase lifting speeds up to 12 times. Why? Because now you get a complete ergonomic 360-degree rotation of that lever, and it allows you to reduce that pull force, increase that lifting speed. It also takes a lot of wear and tear off of the guy or person operating the lever hoist. If you ever operate a lever hoist, you know it can be a quite daunting task to pull or tension something a couple feet because it's a cranking motion. It's a lot of wear and tear on the shoulders and the arms and the upper body. With this crank motion and the reduction of pull force and the increase of speed, we drastically reduce that wear and tear on the user. Easy pull direction indicator, again, smooth free chaining function, which is very important when it comes to a lever tool. And we have some additional options that can also come along with this lever tool as far as shipyard hooks, latch lock hooks, and some different features. One of the things I definitely want to address with this lever tool is the ease of use. If you've operated a standard lever hoist before, when that lever hoist comes under tension, it will begin to rotate. Because when we're pushing or pulling down on that lever, we're outside of the load path. So what that tends to do is the hoist tends to rotate in the direction where the force is coming from. Well, with the Tornado 360, because that crank handle can now go to the inside, when it flips to the inside, it puts that crank handle directly over the load chain and load path. So now I can operate that, and my pull force is in line with the load path. And that tool won't twist and crank as much if I had to use it in a standard configuration. Again, reducing wear and tear on the user, reducing frustration, eliminating some of the risk that is dealt with a rotating lever tool where I have to reach around the load chain to grab the tool to hold it steady so I can keep it level or keep it straight. So this design really adds a lot of uniqueness and innovativeness, as well as a tremendous safety factor incorporated with the lever tool design.
Rob, are you ready to go ahead and share the action?
I am ready.
Okay, I will make you presenter and you can go for it.
Okay. Okay.
Perfect.
Everybody can see me now?
Can you not share your screen? Turn off, there you go. Perfect, thank you. Awesome.
Okay. So, as you can see, I'm set up in our premier training center here in Gettsville, New York at our corporate headquarters. This is where we host all of our trainings, and we're afforded the opportunity to do a lot of these live demos as we have all our equipment. So I really wanted to go over the hoist and show you how these hoists function. So I'm going to start with the Lodestar VS first. And remember, this takes all the iconic features of the traditional Lodestar, incorporates the Magnatech G Plus Mini drive into that, along with our CM high-tech interface technology, and gives you a lot of flexibility so that you can adjust and adapt this hoist to the exact needs of your application at that time. You do not have to remove a cover. I'll quickly demonstrate how easy it is to hook up the cables. But there's a bottom port here, which is a weatherproof port that I can twist in my cable, and I just lock in my cable. And the other end of the port is a simple USB-B port that I can plug into my laptop or tablet. Once that comes up, I can now pull up my screens. And at the end of this, if anybody would like, I can share my screen and actually pull up the programming and kind of go through that. If anybody wishes to see that, please just let us know and I'll be more than happy to demonstrate that for you. But as I said, standard with overload protection, lifetime lubricated gearbox, all the great things that incorporate into the classic and next generation Lodestar, we incorporated into the Lodestar VS. So I would just like to show you the speed and control as well as the limit settings with this. And then there's a couple of features I want to talk about. So you can see I'm using the new CM rocket pendant. You can see it's got this rocker style button design rather than a push button. So it's very ergonomic and easy for me to control, especially when I'm changing speeds. Because the less times I stop, the less load sway and load bounce I'm going to get. So I want everything to be as fluid as possible. That's why going with a VFD style hoist is very good for us when it comes to load control, precise load accuracy, precise load placement. We took it one step further and made it very easy to adjust all of your settings. So as you can see, I'm going to come up and I can quickly adjust between my speeds. And as you can see, it just hit my slow approach limit, and then it's going to hit my limit. So coming in the down position, I'm going to tilt my camera down so you can see the load come down just a touch more. So
hey, Rob, can you just 1 sec, please? I'm getting a few people saying they're not able to see your screen. Can you all let us know if you're able to see Rob in what he's broadcasting in his webcam? Yes, okay, they can see you. For those that can't, yeah, okay, good. Just wanted to check. Sorry, Rob, please go ahead.
I want to make sure everybody sees. So as you're going to see, I'm going to begin to lower the hook down, and I'm going to never take my finger off the button, and I'm going to quickly transition to my slowest speed. So right now, to really give you the demonstration, I have it set at its highest speed, 16 feet per minute as my fast speed, and I'm at 2.7 feet per minute for my slow speed. So I'm going to be creeping, and you're going to be able to see the speed adjustment I can go, or I can transition through to give you the accuracy and safety of the load placement. So you might not be able to see it too well on camera, but that's moving. And then I go back into my fast speed, and then I immediately slow back down. And I'm never taking my finger off the button. I can do the same in the up. I'm in my fast speed, right into my slow speed. And that's really has a lot to do with the features of the VS and the CM high-tech interface technology, as well as the ease and comfort of the rocker pendant. What you'll also notice is from 16 feet per minute, there's a feature called swift lift. So on a standard hoist, you go 16 feet per minute. That's all you're going to get. You're up 16 feet per minute, down 16 feet per minute. With the feature that you can toggle on and off through the CM high-tech interface, it's a feature called swift lift. So with 20% less of load on the hook, it will increase your lifting speed up to 200%. So at 16 feet per minute, if I have 20% or less load on the hook, it's going to increase my lifting speed to 32 feet per minute. It doesn't sound like much, but if I'm making 50 or 60 lifts a day, that time that's taking me to go up and down, if I can increase that on 30 of those lifts, I might get an additional couple lifts throughout the day. So it allows you to get out of it. Or if you have a long lift and you need to get the hook out of the way, 32 feet per minute is a lot better than 16 feet per minute. So you can kind of see that engage right now, where I'll hop into the swift lift feature. And again, I can automatically go to a slow motion from there. Okay. The other thing, so you go like this, when I get to right about here on the hoist, the slow approach is going to kick in. I have it set at about 12 inches for my upper limit and my lower limit. So again, that slow approach is going to allow you to come up, and God forbid you do hit your limit, it's going to slowly, automatically slow down to your slowest speed setting before you hit that limit to avoid any load bounce or load sway. So the hoist automatically slowed down, and I can't make it go any faster. Now it's going to hit my limit. Okay. So again, some really phenomenal safety features, but it's really the versatility of allowing you to adjust these parameters quickly and easily without ever removing any covers to adapt to the circumstances that you have for your application. Some additional features that I just want to talk about real quickly. The maintenance page, it gives you real-time hoist data. It's giving you your frequency on your hertz. It's giving you your output voltage. It's giving me the most current 10 faults the VFD has encountered. So if I had any faults for troubleshooting reasons, I have my last 10 as well as the data that coincides with those faults. You know, what my voltage was at the time of the fault, what my output was at the time of the fault. I have all that data. It's also giving me hoist cycles. So if I'm a maintenance guy, I can plug into this, my periodic yearly inspection. Okay, this hoist has 2,000 cycles on it. I can do my periodic inspection, document all my information. Next year I go back, okay, now I'm at 4,200 cycles, document. Third year I get to 6,800 cycles. Okay, now it's time for me to replace this or replace that. I now have some sort of predictability of what my maintenance schedule is because I'm giving you all that maintenance data within that program. Another great feature is a lot of times we get asked as a manufacturer to derate hoist. We have a 1-ton hoist. I only want my people lifting up 1,200 pounds. Well, it's hard to do that. Right? We have ways, but it's very difficult. With the Lodestar VS, what we have is something called Load Check 2. It's a way where you can calibrate a specific weight to the hoist. So you can get your 1,200 pound load. You can enable Load Check 2. You lift it up a couple of times, and there's some slide bars to adjust to get it just right. What that does is the VFD and the high-tech interface take all that information, so they know that's 1,200 pounds, or that's the load you want to lift. Then it's set. Once they try to lift up 1,300, 1,400 pounds, the hoist is going to shut off. The VFD is going to read a fault, that it's in an overload state. So it's an additional safety feature, in addition to the standard overload protection, where you can set the hoist to only pick up a certain amount of weight. So again, talking about your production people, your safety, your maintenance guys, you can now adjust this hoist exactly to the parameters you want your operators operating at, or if you're the operator, exactly what you want to operate the hoist at for that application.
Hey, Rob, I'd like to take a few questions if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. The first one is there a maximum lift on the VS?
So it comes in your standard lifts of 5, 10, 15, and 20 foot. We can do additional lifts. It is a chain hoist, so you do have restrictions. You know, you can't put 300 foot of chain on it, but we can do additional lifts beyond the 20, 30 foot range. Absolutely.
Okay, can you explain just a little bit about what VFD is?
So VFD is variable frequency drive. And what that does is it's a control box that is installed into the hoist and wired into your motor. And basically it adjusts the frequency and that is what controls your motor. So rather than just having a standard 2-speed motor where you have a fast and slow, the VFD actually takes that, what you're doing, and can adjust its output to your motor so that it can adjust and play with speed, give you variable speed. The best way to explain a VFD is a light switch and a dimmer switch. On a single speed hoist, you have on off, just like a light switch. A VFD is now that dimmer switch. I can go from dark to just light, to brighter, to brighter, to brighter, and I can play with that all the way in between. So the VFD gives me that versatility and adjustability of speed, where a single speed or 2-speed hoist I have on off or fast slow. That makes sense?
That's perfect, yes. Quick thing too, another question came in. It has to do about what if other hoists that are in the same group have hooks at different heights? How do they slow to stop evenly?
So are you talking about, and I'm asking the question if maybe they can chime back in.
For Patrick.
Having multiple hoists synced together, maybe for like an entertainment industry through a distro box or so on and so forth in that scenario, or you're talking about maybe having 4 guys on 4 different hoists and operating them at the same time?
I'll tell you what, there are a couple questions on that. How do you control more than one Lodestar VS at one time, or are you able to network multiple VS hoists together to do a multi-hoist lift?
Okay, that's where I figured that was where it was going. Currently, we cannot sync multiple Lodestar VS hoists up to work together. It is something we're looking into and working on. That really came up in the entertainment industry where they wanted, you know, where they use 40 or 50 hoists at once to lift a stage or a setup. Currently, the Lodestar VS does not offer that integration, but it is something we are looking into and hopefully can figure out in the near future.
Okay. All right, thank you, Rob. Let me just see if there is, there was was another one that has to do, I'll go ahead and answer it now because I promised him I would. I'm going to ask it now. This is a question a little bit different, but I'll still throw it out there. I have seen information that multiple slings may be collected in a hoist hook. I know it's kind of rigging related, but he was the first question. I've also seen that only one thing should be on a hoist. Collecting should be done with an anchor shackle on a ring. Can you please explain?
So best practice is when you're bundling. So, when we look at a hoist hook, now this is a small hoist, it's a half ton. But when we look at a hoist hook, there's not a lot of bearing surface in there. So as we begin to stack slings in here, it can get quite cumbersome, begin to affect the latch. You can have more than one sling in a hoist hook, absolutely. But as you get 3 or 4 in there, you begin to get bunching, especially when you're working with synthetics, and synthetics begin to stack on each other. Now your distance, your sling lengths and things can get thrown off, and your tensions are differently. So we always recommend, if you're going to go more than 1 or 2 slings into a hoist hook, to use some sort of connectionary device. Either use a fabricated multi-leg bridle into a master link, or connect with a connectionary piece of hardware such as a shackle or something of that instance, just to eliminate a lot of that bunching. Because what can tend to happen is the slings might start to ride up onto the tip, and now you're getting some tip loading, or they start getting affected with the latch, especially with synthetics. The latch, can start catching the synthetics, or they start riding up outside of your bearing surface. So now you've got slings kind of coming off here and stuff. Just due to the nature of the size of the hooks, we really recommend after 1 or 2 slings is to use some sort of connectionary device. And I can definitely talk more to that offline with you if you'd like.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, let's continue. We did just get a question. Okay, why don't you finish what you're doing about the VS, and then we did get a request. They would like to see the screen, but I think I know I'll let you handle it from there.
Yeah, so just so I can keep my camera going,
Yeah.
If it's okay with everybody, let me demo the other couple hoists.
Sure. You can come back at the end. Yeah.
Share my screen and pull everything up so I'm not transitioning through the different.
You do it as you feel best, Rob.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I think that will work best. So that's the Lodestar VS. I'm going to show you the Hurricane and the Tornado next, and then I'll go grab the Shopstar VS and we'll swap it onto one of these beam clamps real quick.
Perfect. Thank you.
So I'm going to shift you guys over here to the Hurricane. Okay. CM Hurricane 360 manual chain hoist. Again, half to 20-ton capacity, standard overload protection. What makes this so unique and innovative is this right here. The ability to handle a rotate 360 degrees. But now as an operator, I can safely and efficiently operate this hoist from any position or angle, even above the load. So I'm going to hook it up to a load so that you can kind of and it's going to be very loud, so I'm going to turn my microphone on while I operate, and then I'll come back and speak to it.
Okay.
So what you're going to see is I'm going to move around the hoist. So I'm going to show you that you can operate this hoist from multiple positions. With the standard chain hoist, most of the time, the operator's got to be somewhere close to the load, right? They got to be somewhere close to that load path in the danger zone. A lot of times, especially if you take elevator scenarios, engine room scenarios, different construction applications where they're constructing multiple pipes or running pipes or putting in walls or whatever. The operators, you can see, I have a pinch point right here between the hoist and crush area. If I'm over here, now between the hoist and the wall. So my escape routes and my danger zone is very tight. With the Hurricane 360, come in this direction. I can come in this direction. So because that handle will rotate 360 degrees, I'm allowing my operator to maintain a safe distance or even exit the structure, the elevator shaft, go down a hallway, go out a doorway. Just get them in a safe position where they're very comfortable, but yet still being 100% efficient while operating the hoist. The other ability, again, is that ability to operate from above the hoist. If I was on a platform and I had to lift something up from beneath me, but I wanted my operator up on the platform, a lot of times I got to try to find a rigging position above the operator. Now I can hang to that bottom floor, raise my load, swing it into another exit area or offload area, and still have everything below my operator, so my operator's in a safe position. This hoist really brings innovativeness and safety together by allowing the operator to operate from any position or angle just through the innovativeness of 360-degree rotation. You can either stay in the down position, it works both ways. It's kind of you guys So just having that ability to freely move about the work area or get myself away from a dangerous situation or a pinch point or obstruction adds a huge advantage to the safety aspect, as well as I lose zero efficiency. If you've operated chain hoist before, you know once you start getting at an angle, the hand chain begins to bind on the frame of the body, on the handle body. If you go above it, it's just going to lock into it. So just that 360-degree rotating hand wheel really gives you a ton of various abilities and opportunities to operate the hoist in a much safer and efficient manner. So I'm gonna come this way if everybody could see that one, okay? So again, this is the Tornado 360 lever hoist. Capacity is 3/4 to 9 ton, okay? Overload protection is optional. Again, the uniqueness and innovativeness of this hoist comes around the reduced wear on the operator, as well as the additional safety that it provides, okay? Wear and tear on operators usually lead to accidents. So we're trying to eliminate a lot of that wear and tear, make a more efficient, safer hoist to operate. Standard hoist, you just have your lever, and you're going to be in a cranking motion like this. And if you're pulling 10, 15, 20 foot, or you're lifting 10, 15, 20 foot, that can get quite exhausting going like that. So now, because we have the rotating lever wall, we pop out this little sideline feature. Again, it's going to reduce your pull force by up to 30% and can increase your lifting speeds up to 12 times. So now we have that. I literally get into a crank where I can go to the next around a 360-degree circle. The other feature is I have a very smooth free chain up. So I can pull my chain tight or I can pull my chain slack, which is a tremendous feature in a lever hoist to have, as I want to try to pull as much slack as I can through so that I can tension or get it. But I'm going to my top position. You can get how much quicker it would be. I have a structure by the way, compared to that motion. The same for going down, you know. That's a lot of wear and tear on the body, especially if I'm in a kneeling position because I'm tensioning the load. But now, it's a much more fluid, it's a much more easy position, especially on the ground in a tensioning application. The other benefit is when operating the standard level hoist, coming into the tensioning situation. Did you see how the tool begins to turn? That's what my pull was. Okay, especially on the ground, it's going to begin to rotate. With the feature to go in the middle, now my pull force is in line with the load path, and that tool doesn't rotate. So even if I did have to use this in a tighter confined space, I still have a tremendous advantage in comparison to this, where it's in the neutral position. Naturally, that tool is going to go where the pull force is. So usually what happens is now I begin to hold and I'm fighting where I can just kind of go like that. And then again, it's a down position, doing transition, and giving a 360 degree. Tremendous reduction on wear and tear. If I hadn't lifted up that high, standard lever, we'd still be watching me lift it that high. Okay, so that ergonomic crank-free position handle allows me to operate as a standard lever hoist, allows me to operate it in the inward position as a standard lever hoist, but maintains the load path so my hoist will twist or turn on it. Or I can flip it to the outward position and get the 360 degree rotation, which will increase my lifting speed up to 12 times and reduce pull force by up to 30%. The other thing is we have a very nice directional, one-handle directional indicator on here. And again, that free chain option, very smooth free chain. I'll go over specifications one more time. It's going to be 3/4 to 9 ton, and you have the option for overload protection. You have the option for shipyard hooks. You have the option for latch lock.
Okay, Rob, I think we can take a few more questions. I know we're already at 45 after. We'll take a few more. Does the Tornado have a load limiter option?
Yes, the Tornado does come with a load limiter option. It's optional, so you can get it with or without a load limiter. Just when you're ordering or if you intend to order, just make sure you specify you would like the load limiter.
Okay, next, what's the maximum length on that high-tech cable run?
So our standard length, that's a very good question, I believe is 20 foot, but we make these, so if you needed one that was 60 foot, I'm sure we can accommodate that.
Okay, just a second, I just had it, let's see. We've received a lot of questions. There was another here, can the Tornado handle be retrofitted to other CM lever hoists?
No, due to the design of the handle and the way the hoist is built, when we build these hoists, we build them to be a complete assembly. There's not too much interchangeability between there. It tends to create more of an issue than solve problems. So that handle is strictly for the Tornado hoist.
Okay, so they have different handle lengths depending on which hoist you're choosing.
Correct, different handle lengths, and it goes into the engineering behind it of leverage. So that's what's getting your pull forces and your ratios and things like that. So when you start changing handles, you actually change a lot more than just the handle.
Okay, I think you might have already addressed it. What is the fastest available speed for a VS hoist?
So with your Lodestar, I believe your fastest speed on your Lodestar is 16 feet per minute. Standard speed is 16 feet per minute.
Okay.
I can confirm that and put that out there, but I'm pretty sure it's 16 feet per minute.
Okay. Can the onboard drive take a load cell input for additional load limiting beyond the drive current?
So basically, you're asking if it has a load cell for digital readouts of what your load is actually reading, what your load actually is? Is that what they're?
I
Whoever
think
asked that?
so. Maybe the person that asked that question can chime back. Okay, we'll come back to that then. Can you change the length of the chain on the Lodestar, and what about the limits? Can the controls be ganged as for the arena lighting trusses?
Absolutely. So when you change your length on a standard Lodestar, you have those geared limits. So sometimes, depending on what length you change to, you actually have to change your geared limit to accommodate that length. Because this is electronically programmable limit switches, when I turn off my limits, I can take out my chain, I can go from 20 foot of lift to 60 foot of lift, and then just electronically reprogram my limit. There's no parameters to what your lowest limit or highest limit could be set at. So as long as the VFD reads where that hook is, you can set your upper limit. So you can easily change out chain on the Lodestar VS and not have to worry about your limits being wrong because you just electronically reset them, which I'll show everybody towards the end of this program.
Okay, someone asked the question, what is a shipyard hook?
So a shipyard hook is a hook where if you look at the standard hook, if you look at a standard hook, you have your tip on it, okay? And what happens a lot of times is when we're using lever tools or other hoisting equipment, especially when we're in a tensioning or pulling application, we tend to maybe put this on an I-beam or some sheets of steel, and what we end up doing is hooking right in here, okay? And that's called tip loading. And what normally will happen is the tip of the hook is going to stretch out, and that hook's going to basically become not usable. It's going to have to be removed from service. So what a shipyard hook is it's a blunt tip. So it's basically cut off right here, so that when I load in right here, I still have full strength in my hook, and it's really designed for that pulling or tensioning type applications.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Rob. Let's see, a couple more have come in. I know we've already maxed out our time, so if anyone needs to drop off, feel free, but we will continue to the end of the hour just to make sure we get your questions answered. I know they still want to see the Lodestar VS programming screens, but a couple quick questions before you do that. How does this, I don't think I've asked this, how does the slow speed affect the dynamic loads? Should still be considered 125% when bumping the motors, voltage increase?
So we're not big fans of bumping motors. What that is hitting the button if we're talking about bumping in the same regard. It puts a lot of wear and tear on the internal components of the hoist. So when you get into the VFD and changing your speeds, when you don't take your finger off the button and you just go from your high speed to your fast speed, or you can creep the hook into position, the motor never stops running. So you're not adding any increased wear or anything like that, dynamic effects to the motor. Whereas as you're hitting a button like this numerous times and bumping that, you're basically, for lack of a better term, jerking the chain into the hoist. And you're creating a lot of wear and tear on contactors, your brake, your motor, things like that. So with the VFD, it allows you to have that same, perform that same action, just a lot smoother and with the reduced wear and tear on the hoist.
Okay. Will the VS work with various software, i.e. like Inspectall, or does CM have its own software that interacts with the VS?
We do not have, we have our own software. It's the CM high-tech interface. Inspectall is more of an inspection platform. The CM high-tech interface is the platform we use to make the adjustments on the hoist. It doesn't really have any sort of areas to mark off inspection criteria or anything like that. It's really just to perform your adjustments on the VFD of the hoist and set your parameters of how you want that hoist to work. It does work on all your PCs as well as tablets. It does not work on iPads as of now because of the iOS stuff. It currently does not work on Apple phones.
And the software comes with the price of the hoist. There isn't an additional cost for it, is there?
The software and control interface cable is an additional cost. And the reason being is we had to separate it so that if somebody bought 50 of these, they didn't get 50 software kits and 50 control ports, because realistically, one software can be used on multiple computers, as well as one port can run through the, one port can work on multiple hoists. I am not on the sales side of things, so I cannot speak to what the cost is. I know it's very minimal, but
Okay.
it is an option to purchase.
Okay, we can provide more information if anyone's interested on that. Okay, one more question, and then we'll have you show the Lodestar VS screens. Is the maximum speed of the VS 64 inches per minute regardless of the lifting capacity of the hoist?
That's a very good question. I'm gonna have to get back to you on that one. I honestly can't answer that one off the top of my head.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, that's a great question. I just honestly can't answer it off the top of my head. I'll have to look into it and get back to somebody.
And I'm sorry, I meant to say 64 feet, not inches. Okay, thank you for that. So let's go ahead and show the Lodestar VS programming screen, okay?
So give me a minute while I come around here. I'm gonna turn off my camera real quick. Okay. Can everybody see my screen where it says click the connect button to begin?
Yes.
Okay. So I plugged into the hoist through the bottom port, which I showed you, and I plugged in my USB to the laptop. Now I simply just hit connect to hoist, and it pulls up my hoist. So the first page you're going to see is your speed and acceleration page. I like to run my hoist in two-step two-speed, but up here I actually have two-step variable, three-step three-speed, or three-step variable. So I can change it to however I wish to operate. But at this time I'm in two-step two-speed. And then I got the simple turtle and hare. So as you can see, I'm at 2.7 on my slow speed, 16 feet on my fast speed. I also, to the right of that, have acceleration and deceleration times. So if I wanted a delay between my acceleration and deceleration times, I can actually increase that between speeds. So I can set, a 1 second delay between my slow speed and my fast speed, or my fast speed and slow speed. So I can play with that so that there's delays in between there, so my operators can't just jump right from speed to speed. I can actually transition that for them. So that's available to you. And then you could see Swift Lift. Now remember, Swift Lift, I have it enabled right now. You can disable it so that that hoist won't go to 200% of your speed at 20% or less load. Just remember, Swift Lift is only going to go to 200% of what your fast speed is. So if I slid my fast speed down to 10 feet per minute, Swift Lift, no matter what I have it set on, even at 32 feet per minute, it's only going to jump to 20 feet per minute. It's only going to go to 200% of what my fast speed is set at. Okay. So, it's something that you're going to have to play with and see if you want enabled or not enabled. So that's your speed and acceleration page. And it's exactly that. It lets you dictate all your speeds. If I went into a three-step three-speed, it's going to light up my three speed. So I'll have my first speed, second speed, third speed. And then I can have my super slow, my medium, and then my fast speed. And then I can, if I had a three-step, three-speed pendant, I can adjust through those speeds and play with that through there and even have more control. When I get to my limits page, I'm just going to reset this so I can actually show you guys my limits. When I get to my limits page, naturally it's going to be, we pop up a big warning. Remember, limits are a safety device. They're intended to protect the hoist, which in turn protects you. So you can't drive the hook through the bottom of the hoist and, God forbid, snap the chain or the load falls and things like that. So it's a safety feature. So once you click on there that you've read, so right now my limits are enabled. So I'm going to turn my limits off and a big warning comes up. Hey, you're taking off your limits. Be very careful, right? So I understand that. I'm going to erase my limits. I'm going to save to my hoist. So now there's no limits on my hoist. And I'm just going to run it up real quick. You know, I wonder if I can. Nope, let me turn my, I guess you guys won't be able to see that. All right. So as you can see right here, I have two things. Because my limits are currently disabled, now I have the option, set upper limit, set lower limit. So simply, I'm just going to move my hook to where I want it, and I'm going to click the button, set upper limit. I'll quickly check that to make sure it's set. Now I'm going to go to set my lower limit. I'll run the hoist down to my position, and I'm going to click set lower limit. Now I'm going to check that to make sure it's set. My lower limits are set. It's that quick and simple. So to the question of can you change lift? Yes, it's very easy. Take off your limits, remove your old chain, put in 60 foot of new chain, reset your limits electronically. Just put your hook where you want it, hit set upper limit, set lower limit. Then I can go down here and I can turn on my slow approach limits. So remember, that's where the hoist is automatically going to slow down to my slowest speed setting at whatever distance I want from both my upper and lower limits. So as I said earlier, I got a range from basically 1 inch to 50 inches. So anywhere in there, depending on my lift, I usually set it about 10 inches from my limit. The hoist, no matter what, will automatically slow down before it hits my limit. That eliminates a lot of that load bounce and load sway from hitting your limits. The other feature, which I'm not going to enable because I don't have a calibrated weight, is the load check 2. Remember, that's where you can set the hoist to lift a certain capacity. So it's an additional safety feature. It is not an overload protection. The hoist comes standard with overload protection. This is a load check system to where if I got a 1-ton hoist, I only want my people lifting up 1,200 pounds, I can calibrate it and I can play with my acceleration margins and my steady states to get it dialed in. And then when they go to lift over 1,200 pounds, they're going to get a fault. Okay. So it's an additional safety feature we can put into the program, or you can activate to eliminate some issues if they occur or anything like that. So you could really take care of that. And again, you could set the hoist for the parameters you want the hoist to operate at for that particular application. The last page.
Rob, we just have a couple more minutes. So
Yep.
if you can wrap this up, that would be great.
Absolutely. The last page is your maintenance page. So as I spoke about, it's giving you your current hoist status. So I got 1,044 cycles. I'll run the hoist. You can watch my numbers. So it's telling you what my output voltage is, what my frequency output is, what my DC bus voltage is. It's giving me all that information real time. It's also to the right giving me the last 10 faults I received. So pulse generator open fault, torque powering fault. These are the faults that I last received. And it also is going to give you the information, the frequency output, what my motor speed was at, what my output voltage was at. So I have all that data for troubleshooting purposes. And that's the CM high-tech interface for the Lodestar VS.
Perfect. Thank you, Rob. We just have one more minute. I just wanted to ask one last question. Is the software required to operate a VS hoist?
No, the software is not required to operate the VS hoist. You can purchase the hoist, it will be factory set. The software is required to make any adjustments to the easy adjustments to the speed setting. It is a VFD, so you can still go in there and program it like a standard VFD.
Okay, perfect. Last question before we wrap up. Does the VS include mechanical limits as well as the software limits, or
No,
any mechanical homing switches?
Nope, the VS strictly comes with the electronic programmable limit switches. No
Okay.
mechanical geared limits.
And maintenance requirements for the hoist, what would you recommend?
So it's a standard hoist just with a VFD in it. So, you know, again, depending on your service class, how often the hoist is being used, at minimum, you're required to do your periodic inspection, which is your documented inspection once a year. You know, for normal service, for heavy service, that's a semi-annual documented inspection. And severe service would be, you know, in abnormal operating conditions, you're required, monthly to quarterly, a minimum 4 times a year, could be as much as weekly. So it's serviced just like a standard hoist. You're going to be required to check your brakes, check your chain, check your suspension, check your bottom hook, inspect your load chain, your lift wheel. It's no different than any other standard hoist as far as inspection and maintenance goes.
Okay, well, thank you, everyone. We're so glad that you were able to participate today, and we appreciate it greatly. We will send you a link to the recording. I know we had, we've been getting comments about sound and things. We're going to try to do some new things the next time around, but we appreciate your patience and your interest in joining us. If there are any more questions you want to type in, Rob can take them after the fact. I'll keep it open. He can email you the answers if there's something. We appreciate any feedback you can provide or any other products you'd like us to feature on a future webinar. That would be really awesome. So again, thank you everyone for your interest and attention today. And we will be sending you a link to the recording via email in the next day or two.